Good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School, and I want to say hi to everybody who's watching on drboycetv.com, also on the Black Financial Channel. The URL for the Black Financial Channel, if you want to talk about purely financial topics, you can feel free to go to theblackfinancialchannel.com. theblackfinancialchannel.com. Also, this conversation is brought to you by the Black Business School, where we believe in educating our own children, creating our own jobs, and supporting Black businesses. So if you want to get started on your personal wealth building plan and you want to learn at a high level and experience Black excellence up close from Black professors, PhDs, lawyers, and everybody else, feel free to go to theblackbusinessschool.com. What I want to cover real quick today, and I won't talk long about this, is Ava Duvernay and Netflix. Ava Duvernay and Netflix are being hit by what probably is a pretty big lawsuit. It looks like Ava Duvernay, who created the film When They See Us, is being sued right now by a former cop who basically says that Ava's film When They See Us was an inaccurate depiction of a policing technique that he invented. And I'm gonna read some of this to you. This is from TMZ. If you could hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell, so you'll be notified when we go live on this channel. Here's what it says in TMZ. Netflix and When They See Us creator Ava Duvernay are being sued over the police interrogation technique depicted in the film because its creator claims the movie got his method all wrong. A former cop named John Reid claims in his lawsuit that the Emmy award-winning film defamed him by saying his method was used to squeeze statements out of the Central Park 5 suspect. In particular, he points out a scene in episode 4 where a detective and someone from the DA's office are discussing the interrogation of the suspects. The prosecution staffer says to the detective, quote, "You squeeze statements out of them after 42 hours of questioning and coercing, without food, bathroom breaks, without parental supervision. The Reid technique has been universally rejected. That's truth to you." So this Reid technique, according to the lawsuit, Reid says the technique he created specifically does not teach withholding parental supervision, denying interview subjects any of their rights, or making threats of physical harm. He claims it specifically calls for extra caution when interviewing minors. In the docs obtained by TMZ, Reid questions Duvernay saying, quote, we did our research before making the film. Let's see here. Okay, he questions Duvernay saying, "We did our research before making the film by inviting law enforcement personnel to discuss the case." Reid claims that if that were true, Ava would have learned his technique disavows the types of things depicted in the movie. And so this is really interesting. So I'm gonna read this statement again right here. This line from the film: "You squeeze statements out of them for 42 hours, or after 42 hours of questioning and coercing, without food, bathroom breaks, withholding parental supervision. The Reid technique has been universally rejected. That's truth to you." So it almost sounds like what he's taking issue with is this idea that the Reid technique has been universally rejected. Apparently, I'm going to tell you this. My first perception is that this is kind of a money thing for him, because it sounds to me like he is a former cop who makes his living by teaching the Reid technique to police departments all over the country. And so if Duvernay in her film has been, laid out the Reid technique as something that nobody wants to do, that you don't want to touch this thing, then that's probably going to affect his business. Now, what I'd be curious about is, how many police departments use the Reid technique. Let me see here. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me see here while I do this. Okay, do police departments use the Reid technique? Let's see here. Wicklin Zulawski said it would use the Reid technique only to educate police on the risk and reality of false confessions. Quote, "At some point, the technique itself has to take responsibility," says Saul Kasson, a professor of psychology at John Jay College. So in this article in Business Insider, they're stating that, now mind you, pay attention now, things are always about the money, right? I knew that there was a financial incentive, something financial happening in the background. And I think we're finding the smoking gun here. A major player in law enforcement said it will stop using a method that has been linked to false confessions. So whether Reid wants to accept this or not, whether he wants to confess to this, get it, whether he wants to confess or not, the Reid technique has been linked to false confessions. According to Business Insider, it says, "You may have never have heard of the Reid technique, but chances are you know how it works. For more than half a century, it's been the go-to police interrogation method for squeezing confessions out of suspects. Its tropes are familiar from any cop show: the claustrophobic room, the repeated accusations of guilt, the presentation of evidence, real or invented, and the slow buildup of pressure that makes admitting a crime seem like the easiest way out. Now, this is being written by Business Insider. So if Business Insider is writing this about this method, are you going to sue them too? Or is Business Insider being named in the lawsuit? Because it sounds to me like Business Insider is calling out the Reid technique pretty bad. As I move forward, I want to say hello to Nakia Clark. I see Realism in here. I see Wind Sprinter, Miss Ashanti and Monroe, and Frazier, and the Enemy's Public, and Brandon Jackson. Hello. Shout out your city. Shout out the city that you're from. I like to see what cities you're coming from. Larry Hurt, I see you. Angel smiling because I must have said something that made her laugh. I'm glad I made you smile today, Angel. You are my angel today. That's what you are. I appreciate you and I love you very much for coming in here. Thank you. So let me go ahead and keep reading this to you. This is really fascinating. Let's see here. Its tropes are familiar for any cop. Okay, so we mentioned the claustrophobic room, repeated accusations of guilt, presentation of real or fake evidence, so cops can lie. I remember hearing a cop, as I told you guys, my father was a cop for 25 years, and I've heard cops say, oh yeah, cops, we lie all the time, right? So I would say that it should be illegal for a cop to tell a lie if they're trying to get a confession out of somebody. I think that a cop who tells a lie should, be punished as if they lied under oath. You're talking to a suspect and you're just making things up. No, you can't do that. You can't make these lies up. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm biased when it comes to Ava Duvernay because I like Ava. I like what she does. Ava seems to be one of the real ones. I actually have a relative who works for Ava, and whenever she goes and works for these people, I always say, okay, are they really cool, or what are they really like? Tell me more about what they're really like. She really likes Ava, so I'm like, okay, if you think she's cool, then she sounds cool with me. So let me keep reading. That's why it jolted the investigative world this week when one of the nation's largest police consulting firms, one that has trained hundreds of thousands of cops from Chicago to New York and federal agents at almost every major agency, said it is tossing out the Reid technique because of the risk of false confessions. Wickerland, Zolowski and Associates, a consulting firm that says it has worked with the majority of U.S. police departments, said Monday that it is going to stop training detectives in the method it has taught since 1984. Quote, confrontation is not an effective way of getting truthful information, said Shane Sturman, the company's president and CEO. Quote, this is a big move for us, but it's a decision that's been coming for quite some time. More and more of our law enforcement clients have asked us to remove it from their training based on all the academic research showing other interrogation styles to be much less risky. Research and a spate of exonerations, meaning tons of people who were falsely convicted. And you know what those people look like. What do those people look like? What race are those people who are being hit with the false convictions look like? Somebody say in the chat for me, what do they look? What do they tend to look like when they see us, the word being us, right? So what do they tend to look like when you're talking about this spate of exonerations? It's a lot of exonerations, but it's centered on one tiny group of people, one tiny segment of the population that represents about 13% of the American. So it's not just a hammer, it's a hammer that's hit in one tiny little area of the population. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So this is black, exactly. It affects us more than anybody else. So let me keep reading here. Let's see here. But admission by such a prominent player in law enforcement was seismic. So this article, when was this article? It came out 2 years ago. So he's been pissed for a while. I think this was before Ava's movie came out, actually. This was before Ava's movie came out. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, when did they see us? Did that come out before May 19th, 2017? I don't think it did. What was or March 9th, 2017. Somebody Google that for me. Let's see, what's the release date? I'm going to look it up. The release, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't done it, please hit the thumbs up button and please hit that notification bell, especially for those of you on the Black Financial channel. I want to make sure you get notified when we go live. Let me see here. The release date of when they see us. Look at that. How about that? How about them apples, you asshole? It was released May 31st, 2019. So perhaps Ava's statement that this method has been universally rejected, that at least the major players are rejecting it, is accurate. It's very accurate. I don't know if this guy has a legal leg to stand on. I ain't Johnny Cochran, but it don't look like he got a new case. If the glove don't fit, she ain't do that shit. If the glove don't fit, then you need to quit. Let me keep going. So basically, this is big news in the interrogation world, says Stephen A. Drizzen, a law professor at Northwestern University and expert on police interviews. Let's see. Daryl says why? Because she is close to a part of real, mostly uncompromised Black Hollywood. That's why too much money has been put into Tyler Perry's mostly compromised Black Hollywood. Yeah, there is a difference between Ava DuVernay and Tyler Perry. Let's just say that. I can't see Ava DuVernay making slave movies unless all the slaves kill all the masters by the end of the movie, right? If they make Django 2, that would be Ava's movie. If they make The Help Part 2, that won't be Ava's movie. I can't, or The Help Part 2 featuring a black man in a dress. They'll probably send that script over to Tyler Perry, but hey, I'm just talking. All right, so let's see here. Joseph P. Buckley, the president of John E. Reid and Associates, which licenses the Reid method, said Wednesday that Wickler and Zalewski's announcement was very misleading and disingenuous. He said that the technique has consistently held up in court and that it is not confrontational, except when evidence already suggests the suspect's guilt. Wickler and Zalewski said it would use the Reid technique only to educate police and on the risk and reality of false confessions. The method, the company said, has remained relatively unchanged since the 70s, does not reflect updates in our legal system. Yeah, so they're kind of saying, it seems like they're saying the people that support the Reid technique, meaning AKA read between the lines, the people making money off this stuff. They're basically saying, you know, it's only confrontational when you're guilty, right? The only reason you get mad after being accused 80,000 times in a tiny little room where they haven't let you use the bathroom or eat any food. The only time you get mad about that is if you're guilty. Oh, well, you acting like you're guilty. You're mad. Well, let me just tell you a little quick story. This is a personal story. It's very interesting. I've never shared this story publicly ever in my life. When I was 16 years old, I had a job at Wendy's, and it was a nice job. I was the only boy. I was the only man that worked there because they had all the women that would run the counters and stuff, and I was the only man. So all these pretty girls were all around me all the time, and I'm a 16-year-old boy full of hormones. It was a very exciting time in my life, I'm telling you. But I was no Me Too issues, no incidents. I'm always respectful, so ain't no story about that. I just thought I would just share that because that was an interesting experience. One day, my father pulls up with my mother into the drive-thru. And I'm like, oh, hey, mama, hey, daddy, what's going on? And they're like, we need to talk to you when you get home. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So I rolled my little moped back home. I had this little red moped. I rode it everywhere. You know, like that first piece of transportation you get where you ride it anywhere, because I love the independence of having my own motor vehicle to get around. I'll ride in the winter, in the rain, didn't matter. So I got home and my parents sat me down and they asked me, so they had a real serious look on their face. I was like, why so serious? Why is everybody so serious? And my father says, we found this in your bag. And he pulls out a little package of no-dos, right? And you know, no-dos, the stuff you take to stay awake. And I was like, oh, I forgot that was in my bag. You know, I had taken no-dos. I didn't even take it. I bought it, but I never took it. Like, this is real. I ain't got no reason to lie. I'm 48 years old now. I ain't gonna get a whooping or nothing. I had put it in my bag and it was just there. I forgot about it. And my father's like, have you been taking drugs? And I was like, no. To this day, at 48 years old, I have not taken drugs. I've only taken one drink in my life. I tried to drink a beer and I got this far down the bottle. I couldn't even drink that much because alcohol is nasty to me. Also, I don't mess with drugs because I don't want nothing to mess up my state of mind and make me do something stupid. I'm a regret. So like, I believe what Malcolm said. Malcolm said the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk. I've always believed that. As a black man, I've always felt it was important for me to be alert. So drugs, alcohol, never been an issue for me. Definitely wasn't an issue when I was 16. And I was like, no, I never took drugs. And my father's like, really? And I was like, no, I'm not taking any drugs. Like, I don't know how to prove to you that I don't use drugs, right? And then let me tell you what my dad said. I love my daddy, love him to death, but this was a bad interrogation thing. Remember, I told y'all my daddy was a cop. So let me tell you what he said. I don't know if he was using the Reid technique or not, but he goes, okay, now tell me the truth. And I'm like, I told you the truth. Like that was my reaction. Like, I don't use drugs. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to prove to you that I don't use drugs. And then he goes, well, the way you acted like you're guilty. And I'm like, how am I supposed to act when I'm being accused of doing something that I did not do? What is the point of me telling you this stupid story? The point of the story is to say that innocent people, when they are falsely accused, sometimes get pissed off because they don't have any way of proving to you that they did not do something. How do I prove to you that I didn't do whatever you think that I did? You know, that's why like this Me Too stuff. This is why I hate the whole Me Too. A big chunk of the Me Too movement just irritates me because I'll be like, we have a report from a woman that you don't even remember who says you touched her ass 20 years ago. And I'm like, I don't have an alibi for where my hands were on November 3rd, 1999. I don't remember. I didn't touch her ass. How do I prove to you that I did not do? How do you prove innocence? You can prove guilt, but you can't prove innocence. Right. And so what they're basically saying is that when you get pissed off because somebody locked you in a room, kept you away from your job, kept you from your family, won't let you eat, won't let you piss, won't let you walk out, won't let you do anything for 48 hours straight, and they keep accusing you of a crime that you've continuously denied over and over again, how many of y'all would get pissed off too? How many of y'all, they're saying that if you get angry, that means you're guilty. No, it probably means you're innocent in many occasions. How many of you would be pissed off in that situation? How many of you would be incredibly annoyed if somebody locked you up in a room for 2 straight days and said, I know you did it. I know you did it. Larry, Tony, seriously, like Jamaica. What if I brought Jamaica into the room and just said, Jamaica, we know you did it. And Jamaica's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And for 2 straight days, I have Jamaica in this room. She can't go home. She can't go to work. She can't go pee. She can't eat. And I'm constantly telling her, you know you did it. 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 And then she gets pissed off. And then I'm like, see, I told you she did it. Look at the way she's acting. Only guilty people act like that. Who came up with that retarded shit anyway? Like, that's about the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. If somebody gets mad at being falsely accused, you assume that their outrage means they did it. That's as dumb as when they go to court. You ever see that when people go to court and when somebody who's innocent says, to your honor, I'm sorry, they've been convicted, they've been sentenced, and they're like, do you express remorse for what you did? And they're like, I would express remorse if I had done that shit, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And they're like, we're going to punish you even more. You're going to go to jail longer because you won't accept responsibility. I can't accept responsibility for shit I did not do. I can't do. I don't know how to take responsibility. Should I tell you I feel guilty for doing something that somebody else did? I don't know how to do that. Right. So in a way, you know what it reminds me of? It takes me back to back when they used to try people for being witches, the Salem witch trials. And they would do these trials by fire and dumb stuff like that. Like they'd be like, we're going to dump you underwater. And if you survive, that means you're a witch. But if you die, that means you're innocent. It would be like dumb stuff like that. You know, or if you don't confess, then we're going to kill you. But if you do confess, wait, scratch that. Let me make sure I get it right. Yeah, if you don't confess, then we're going to keep torturing you. And then if you do confess, we're going to kill you anyway because you're a witch. So in a way, it's like you go into the legal system. Some parts of the legal system are just stupid because they bring you in under the assumption that you're guilty, that the reason you were arrested is because you're guilty. And I think that is such a ridiculous thing to do. And so this technique, to me, based on what they're saying, it sounds like it's a technique that should not be used. We know about all the false convictions that have occurred, false confessions that have occurred. We know that if we went and analyzed every single case, and remember this, think about it like this, y'all. This is important. This is why Ava's movie was important. It wasn't important because of the Central Park 5. God bless the Central Park 5, but that's 5 dudes. That's 5 people. Stop getting obsessed with 5 people. 5 people means nothing compared to the 5 million people that have been affected. Okay, 5 people is a sample. That is like going to a lake and pulling a drop of water out of the lake and you say, this drop of water is tainted. Oh, I'm going to cure this one little drop. If we cure this drop of water, then everything will be good. No, you got a sample of the lake. You took one drop out and you found a tainted sample. The tainted sample means the entire lake is infected. It means you need to go in there and do some major heavy lifting. You need to be doing some industrial level repair on a very serious, insidious, broad-based problem. The sample is merely a reflection. It is merely a derivative of the larger issue at hand. So the Central Park Five, I'm not going to say I don't care about these guys. I do. I really feel bad for these brothers. I hated what they went through. But when I see the Central Park Five, I'm not seeing the Central Park Five. I'm seeing the Central Park 5 million. I'm seeing the other hundreds of thousands or millions of black people who are in jail saying, hey, can you look at my case too? Can you look at, and Ava Duvernay can't make a movie about everybody's situation. She can't. She's a great filmmaker, but she can't make that many movies. So when you make a movie and everybody gets outraged over the Central Park Five, intelligent black people understand, and all of you are intelligent. So I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna implore you to consider this. Don't think about just the Central Park Five. Please think about the other 500,000, 5 million people that are affected when they show you that that little sample is tainted. The Central Park Five is nothing more than a sample of a broader issue. There have been hundreds of thousands of interrogations just like that ended badly. And there are thousands of people right now in jail, right now in jail, right now, for some shit that they did not do, where that same method was used to interrogate them and get a false conviction, because they were exterminating black people wholesale, and your buddies in the Democratic and the Republican parties were all for it, because black extermination has always been an agenda that they could agree on for both sides of the political aisle. That was always what they call it, bipartisan. They always had a bipartisan agreement that we need to exterminate the black man in America. There has never been any sort of political division or party-based lines drawn. No. It's been a bipartisan agreement that black people need to go. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at the Bill Clinton crime bill when Hillary Clinton was calling y'all super predators. And now you just fast forward, you got the Me Too movement, and they're labeling black men as predators again. So at the end of the day, this is a bigger issue than just the Central Park Five or just Ava DuVernay or whatever. So I will say this: I'm going to call BS on the lawsuit. I think that it makes sense that he's going to sue, because he's losing money over this. I can commend and congratulate Ava DuVernay for making a movie that does actually matter. I encourage all of you to take that movie and do what it was meant to do, which is to draw attention to the broader issue of police misconduct, brutality, disrespect, mistreatment, and false confessions being forced out of thousands of young men and women all across the United States, and not just on those 5 people. It's much bigger than those 5 people. And then also, last but not least, I think this is going to happen. I'd be curious to see what happens with the lawsuit. And believe if they weren't making money off this technique, they wouldn't be suing. They're just suing because basically Ava called them on their BS, and they can't go and consult with police departments anymore, because hopefully this would mean that some of the police departments are wisening up and saying, we really are opening ourselves up to tremendous liability when we believe that the whole torture and beat them down mentally technique is going to work to get a confession. How about we just do an investigation and find out who the bad guys really are? But then also remember, earlier today, if you go to drboystv.com, you'll find a great interview I did with Nuri Muhammad from the Nation of Islam, in which he discussed a very solid plan on community policing, where the police come from the actual community that you're actually investigating, which actually I think is something we should fight for in the next election. Okay, I'm not voting in this election, but if that becomes the issue in the next election, I might consider going out and voting for one of the political parties. That's just my 2 cents. That's what I believe, and that's where I stand. I can't apologize for that. All right, so I'm gonna head on out. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, please hit the notification bell. If you haven't hit the notification bell, please do that now. After you hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell, please write Black Power in the chat so I know that you did it. So hit the thumbs up, notification bell, hit Black Power. I'll be in New York City, October 27th. If you want to come in and fly in, join us at our investment seminar. We're having a financial Juneteenth investing seminar. It's going to be 8 hours long with you and a group of wealth builders that you can network with, work with, build with, and learn with. We're going to learn everything about investing, everything you want to know about the stock market. We're going to really help you guys get started to build a wealth plan for your family that will last the next 100, 200 years. Also, in case you guys don't want to know, I don't talk about them much, but here are some of my books. I have the new Black Power series that's out, which is pretty much social commentary on various issues. Some are financial, some are not. And then I have Black American Money, with which I talk about money from a Black perspective. I'm not a finance professor who happens to be Black. I'm a Black man who happens to be a finance professor, but my PhD is real. You can go look it up. You can even read my dissertation. So I know my stuff and I know it well. So feel free to go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. You can also find our financial flashcards and workbooks for children. And we have all kinds of tools for the entire family. Now, I want to say thank you to Reggie Bruce for your donation. Thank you so much. That money will be put to good use. As you know, we have Boyce Watkins Films, which is actually becoming Boyce Watkins Entertainment, because we're going to go into music and filmmaking. Our next film project is Young Moneymakers that I'm working on with Rick Mathis. Rick Mathis made the Black Friday film series. I don't know if anybody remembers Black Friday, but it was a Blackbuster hit. Blackbuster. One of the things that I've always told you guys is that I think Black people need to really take over the media space, and it needs to be independent Black money. Tyler Perry Studios is great. But I also feel that we can do even better by coming up with something that actually is built on real Black money. A lot of Tyler Perry Studios is built on Madea. Like, that's the house that Madea built. And it's not even a criticism. It's just to say that next time we're going to build a house on something that doesn't involve a Black man wearing a dress, right? Doesn't mean that Tyler's a bad guy. I think Tyler's a great guy, but I really think that something that comes from the community is going to be even stronger. So we're trying to build things in the community. So Rick Mathis and I are working on Young Moneymakers, which is going to be a film that features young people who actually know how to make money and build businesses, things like that. I'll keep you guys posted on that. We have some other projects like the Black Love Blueprint. We already put out part 1, theblackloveblueprint.com, if you want to watch the trailer. Part 2 is going to come out in about a year. We're working with that's in production now. So we have a lot of cool things going on, and I'll keep you guys posted on all things that are happening. And you may want to mark this on your calendar. We'll be at the Essence Music Fest next year. I know it's a long way away, but I wanted to let you guys know about that so you can go ahead and make plans. We're going to be literally 0.2 miles away from the venue. We're going to be there for 3 days doing all kinds of great Black empowerment events and everything else. And then also, of course, the All Black National Convention. We're going to host it in Detroit. That's where we're going to go. Let's see here. Are there any opportunities to invest in any of our projects, says Gary? We don't do public fundraising because public fundraising in terms of equity is highly regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. But we do have opportunities where you could be a participant in various ways. But if you want to actually be an investor, meaning that you want to invest like a heavy amount of money, we'd have to make a private deal in that situation based on what we have in place. So if you have something like that and you want to be a heavy investor, we can put your money to use and actually increase your wealth, substantially, because we have some good ideas. Feel free to email manager@boycewatkins.com. That's manager@boycewatkins.com. Just put something in the subject line to let the manager know that you're serious about investing or something like that, and she can talk to you about it. Okay, guys. So anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you, Stephanie Browder, for your support. I appreciate you. And those of you who would actually like to be a patron of the channel and support the channel and get free stuff in return, feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Juicy Love says YouTube is not allowing me to like your channel. Keep trying. You'll figure it out. It'll come around. I don't think YouTube's blocking us that bad. Not yet. Will Dr. Alicia come to Detroit with you? Yes, she will. I will bring her to Detroit. And actually, you guys know about my wedding next year. I'm getting married July 11th in Chicago, South Side. It's going to be in the Rockefeller Memorial Chapel, right on the University of Chicago campus, right there in the South Side of Chicago. And so if you want to come to, that's where Alicia's an alum of the University of Chicago. So she always loved that chapel, and it's big enough to hold as many people as we want to invite. So what I'll do is I'll put up an Eventbrite, and you guys can get an Eventbrite ticket free of charge and come to the wedding. I'll be happy to see you guys there. So it'll be July 11th. That's the wedding date. So feel free to join us. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Love you guys. Peace.